"You don't live here anymore." My daughter said those words so calmly as if she were simply talking about the weather. But there wasn't a single drop of doubt in her eyes, only coldness, only calculation. "My name is Evelyn Gray. I am 72 years old, and that evening I was standing barefoot on the cold marble floor of the house that I paid for." "Mom, don't make this difficult," my daughter Catherine sighed, crossing her arms. "We've discussed everything." "We." She said we. Behind her stood her husband Daniel, tall, with the lazy smile of a man who already considers someone else's money his own. "Just sign the papers and everything will go smoothly," he added, lightly tapping his fingers against a folder. I didn't take it. "This is my house," I said quietly. "And my money." And then, everything changed. Catherine rolled her eyes. "Good Lord, Mom, stop playing the victim. You're going to, anyway, soon." She didn't finish the sentence, but I understood. Die soon. That was what they were banking on. "Sign it," Daniel repeated, his voice growing harsher. I shook my head, and in the next second he struck me. I didn't even have time to realize what happened. Just a ringing in my ears, the taste of blood in my mouth, and the cold floor against my cheek. "Daniel!" Catherine shrieked. But not because he had hit me, but because I had fallen too loudly. "Pick her up," she said, irritated. And that was when my own daughter grabbed me by the arm and yanked me upward like a bag of trash. "You're making this hard on yourself," she hissed right into my face. "We just want to take what is rightfully ours. Rightfully theirs." I looked at her, and for the first time in my life I didn't recognize my own child. "I gave birth to you," I whispered. She sneered. "Everyone makes mistakes." And at that very moment, sitting on the floor with blood on my lips and pain in my chest, I realized one thing. They thought they had already won. They thought I was old, weak, and alone. They thought I couldn't fight back. They thought the money was already in their hands. But there was one detail that they hadn't taken into account. I knew this day would come. I had prepared for it. And in 40 minutes, their perfect life would begin to crumble. I was thrown into the guest room like an unwanted object. The door closed with a soft click. Not a slam. Not a shout. Cold. Calculating. Final. I slowly sat on the edge of the bed, holding my ribs. The pain pulsed, but I didn't make a sound. Through the wall, muffled voices carried over. "She'll sign," Daniel said. "She has to," Catherine replied. "She doesn't have a choice." I closed my eyes. That was where they were wrong. I always had a choice. I was just waiting. I bought this house 20 years ago, after my husband died, after Catherine told me yet again that I didn't need to interfere in her life. After I realized love is no guarantee of gratitude. I sold everything we had and started anew. I invested, I worked, I took risks, and I never told my daughter how much money I actually had. To her, I was always just a retired mom. It was convenient. I slowly stood up and walked over to the mirror. My lip was split. A bruise was already beginning to darken. I ran my finger along the glass. "Well then," I said softly to my reflection, "it's time." I opened the nightstand drawer. There, under a stack of old handkerchiefs, lay a small black phone, not the one they knew about. Another one. I turned it on. The screen lit up almost instantly. No missed calls, no panic, because everything had already been set up in advance. I pressed a single button. "It's me," I said when the phone was answered on the other end. "It has begun." A pause. "Are you sure?" a man's voice asked. I looked at the door. A split second. "Absolutely." "Then we are moving in." I smiled. For the first time that evening, 10 minutes later, Catherine walked into the room. She was already calm, soft even, as if nothing had happened. "Mom," she sat down next to me. "Let's not make a drama out of this." I remained silent. "We just want to help you," she continued. "You do realize you can't manage on your own." I turned to her. "Help?" I echoed. She nodded. "We'll take over the financial management. Everything will be under control." "Under control, of course." "And the house?" I asked quietly. "We'll temporarily put in our names," she said quickly. "For safety." I looked at her perfect makeup, at the expensive earrings, the ones I had once gifted her. "And if I refuse?" I asked. She smiled. And there was nothing human in that smile. "Then it will become very difficult for you to live here." When she left, I slowly exhaled. They weren't pretending anymore. And that was even better, because now, everything that would happen next would be entirely deserved. Downstairs, the front door slammed. Someone had arrived. I looked at my watch. Right on schedule. I walked over to the window and parted the curtain slightly. A black car. Another one, and another. I closed my eyes for a second. The game was on. Footsteps echoed from below. Voices. First, Daniel's irritated voice. What do you want? Then another. Calm. Official. Good evening. We have a warrant. Silence. The kind of silence that breaks people. What warrant? Catherine said sharply. I smiled and headed for the door. When I opened the door, they were already standing in the foyer. 3 men in dark suits and 2 police officers. Catherine paled first. Mom, what is going on? Her voice trembled, but I didn't answer. The man I had spoken to on the phone stepped forward. Mrs. Gray, he nodded to me. Everything is ready. I gave a slight smile. Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Daniel stepped forward. Hold on, stop. Who even are you people? The man calmly pulled out his documents. Federal Financial Control. We have a warrant to audit all accounts and assets. Silence. That very same silence. The destructive kind. This is some kind of mistake, Catherine said quickly. This is our house. I let out a soft chuckle. No, sweetheart, I said. This is my house. She turned to me sharply. What did you do? Let's start with the basics, Mr. Hunt continued, flipping through the folder. Over the past 6 months, there have been multiple attempts of unauthorized access to one of the investment accounts. Daniel froze, for just a fraction of a second, but I saw it. We have also flagged a forged power of attorney, he added, and an attempt to transfer a large sum of funds. Catherine slowly turned to her husband. What is he talking about? Daniel remained silent. Daniel? Her voice grew quieter. He clenched his jaw. This is a misunderstanding. I took a step forward. Is it? I asked softly. Are the security camera recordings a misunderstanding too? They both looked at me, and at that moment, they finally understood. You, Catherine whispered. You knew the whole time? I nodded. From the very beginning. I slowly scanned the room. This house, Catherine, isn't just a house. She swallowed hard. Every single room here is under surveillance. The police officer stepped forward. We will be seizing the equipment. Of course, I said calmly. Daniel exhaled sharply. This is illegal. Illegal? I looked directly into his eyes. Like striking an elderly woman? Silence. Catherine recoiled. You recorded that? I didn't answer, because the answer was obvious. You'll need to come with us, one of the officers told Daniel. What? He took a step back. This is absurd. Please, don't make this difficult. Catherine grabbed his arm. Tell them it's a mistake. Tell them. But he wasn't looking at her anymore. He was looking at me, and for the first time, there was fear in his eyes. When they led him away, the house suddenly grew far too quiet. Catherine stood in the middle of the living room, alone. Mom, her voice was broken. You can't do this to me. I slowly walked closer. I can't? She began to cry. I'm your daughter. I stopped and looked at her for a long time. A very long time. I had a daughter, I said quietly. Once. She flinched, but she disappeared the moment she decided I was nothing more than a wallet. Tears streamed down her face. I didn't want to. You did, I interrupted calmly. You just didn't think there would be consequences. I pulled a set of documents out of the folder and handed them to her. What is this? She whispered. A notice. With trembling hands, she opened it. She read it, and with every line, her face grew paler. Eviction, she gasped out. I nodded. You have 24 hours. Mom, please, I turned away. You said it yourself, I murmured. I don't live here anymore. She fell to her knees, sobbing, broken. But inside me, there was no joy, no anger, only silence. An hour later, the house was empty. A day later, it was completely mine again. Fully. I stood on the porch, breathing in the cool evening air, the very same air with which it all began. But now everything was different. People think that old age means weakness, that the years make you vulnerable, slow, naive. They are wrong. Because the years, they teach you how to see, how to wait, and how to strike with precision. I closed the door, and for the first time in a long time, I smiled for real. Because this time, I didn't just survive. I won.